Hi, it's Linda with CreativePLR.com. So I know a lot of us have joined a monthly membership program that has coloring pages, $25 every month for a ridiculous low price. And so now we have all these coloring pages, and other than just making them full-size pages for a coloring book in KDP, which is a great thing to do, and you're looking for more ideas on using those coloring pages and getting more from your membership. So here are a couple ideas, and I've shared some of these previously. You can make a frame. You can any type of shape that's in PowerPoint. You can fill with paper, and so this frame is one of them. And so this is an easy frame to do. If you insert a shape, and you're going to use this shape that is already pre-made into a frame that you can fill, and I never take it to the outside edge because for KDP you need a little bit of bleed, and if you want a thicker frame you can adjust that yellow button. If you want a skinnier frame you can go out like that. For coloring, and you could put another coloring image inside. In fact, I'll show you in a minute another coloring image you could put there, and then because it's a shape we can fill it with our paper. And we're going to go to a file and find some paper, and we know we have lots of coloring images because we're getting at least 25 a month plus some images that people share for free, and that looks great. And so I'm going to go to an outline, and for coloring pages an outline is almost a must, otherwise where it's white it kind of bleeds in and then you get this strange kind of configuration. So you could do that and put another image in the center. Okay, so I've shared before using alphabet and large letters, and so you could make a large A, B, C for kids to color in, and you can also use icons. So here is an apple, and I'm going to insert an icon, and you could use any icon you want, but we want to use the black filled icons to do that. And so like the Band-Aid, or I think that's Africa, the airplane. But for fall I like the acorn, I like the apple, and so any of the icons work. And you'll have a little icon, you'll have a little black filled icon, and then you make it larger. And that's going to fill that up pretty nicely. And so whenever you're working with an icon, it's a graphic and not a shape. And so you click on the graphic format and you convert it to a shape, and now it's a shape. And now you can use that shape, you can color it, you can fill it with pretty paper, or in this case we're going to fill it with our coloring pages. And so I am going to go find a different one. I think I like one of these. Okay, and so I can do that, and of course got to have the shape outline on it, and that's probably a little too thick. There we go. So you can have that. So that's a couple things you can do, or you can just have the apple by itself. You don't need it in a frame, but I kind of like it in the frame. Okay, so here's a couple other things you can do. You can make border designs, and by border designs I mean those edges, and you could put an undated calendar here. You could put a to-do list here. You could sell a tracker with a coloring page on the side, and these little scalloped borders are pretty easy to do. And so all this is a shape, and this shape is this. It's not even a half circle. It's just a rounded side. It looks like it was a rectangle, and they just rounded, half of it. And so what I did was, for this one, I just put them next to each other like this. They're right next to each other. And these are shapes, and so I'm going to just hold my control key down, and I'm going to highlight all of them, and then I'm going to go to shape format. And one thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to get rid of the outline. If you don't get rid of the outline, what you're going to have is you're going to have a black line between each of these, and you don't want that because that would keep our coloring page from filling the shape. And then I'm going to go to merge shapes, and because they're just touching each other, I'm going to say combine. And once you've done that, you could make that out a little bit more, and you could stretch it. Now you notice that these are really scalloped, and maybe you like that and maybe you don't. I'm going to show you in a minute how you can avoid that severe scallop. And so we're going to go to our fill, and we're going to fill it with some paper, obviously. Let's see. Let me just try that one. And whenever I'm filling with paper and I'm putting a design in there, it's handy to have the formatting, the picture open, and we'll tile it. And oh, and I like that. And if you don't like the design where it just happened to fall, you can always use these tools over here to adjust it and kind of move the paper up and down, squish it a little, and then of course we want an outline now that we've finished it. And as you can make the outline as heavy or as light as you want. I kind of like that. And you'll notice on here, on a couple of them, I didn't take the outline off of there. And so it looks like it has a faint outline between them. Okay, so that's that severe scallop. So if you don't like that severe scallop, I'm going to move this one just a little off the canvas. What you can do is you can use that same shape, and instead of just having them touch, you can overlap them slightly. And let's see if I can get a bunch of them here. Okay, and so instead of just meeting them edge to edge like I did the first time, what you can do is you can overlap them, and you're going to get this gentler scallop. Now I'm just not measuring them at all. All I'm doing is lining them up and overlapping them. And you really do need to be careful when you're not making a video to make sure that when you've overlapped them that this left-hand side is pretty straight, because you don't want that jagged. It is going to go on the edge of the paper, and so you could just put it on the edge and not worry about it. And so in this case where they're overlapped and they're not touching, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to highlight them all. And I know there's easier ways to highlight them, but this works when I'm talking and doing something at the same time. And I'm going to go back to shape format, and I'm going to merge these as well. And this time if I try to say combine, you know, wherever they're overlapped, you can see a white spot, and I don't want that. I want it filled in. So I'm going to say union. And in this case, I can now stretch it out. I can do what I did before. I can move it over, and now I have a really gentle scallop on there. And so I am going to fill it with my paper. And let's see. And obviously I'm going to tile it so that I can do that. Now it doesn't look like much, so I'm going to put my outline on there. And I'm even going to darken it up a little bit. Just like that. And so you could make as deep a border, as wide a border as you like for that, but that really kind of jazzes up a planner, or even if you're making a journal, you can make it a coloring journal with lines over here with prompts for somebody to write. And so got a couple more shapes I want to show you. This shape for a border is the same shape that I used before. Let's scoot this one out. These are two different versions, the same exact shape. Insert, shape, that same rounded shape, only this time I stretched it way out. And then once I got it stretched out pretty good, I copied it. There's just two there. I overlapped it, I stretched it some more. Again, I highlighted them both. I went to shape format, and because I've overlapped them, I want to say union. And now I've got one shape. And yes, I could extend that, make it deeper if I wanted. And so I'm going to fill that with paper. And I really like that. And I'm going to put an outline on it, and I'm going to adjust the width of the outline. And so that would make a great border too. Now, I've used that same shape throughout, but you don't have to stick with that shape. You could use triangles and put this down one side. I'm a quilter, and this shape and this configuration with these rows of triangles, they're known as flying geese. And so you could do it either way. You just copy and paste and line them up just like that. And it's going to be hard to fit an exact number on a page. So what I do is I always just put a bunch on the page, and if they slightly overlap, I don't worry about that. And I go back, and after I've lined them up, I'm going to put one more on there. And yes, it went off the page. I'm not really concerned about it because I'm going to highlight all of them, and I'm going to do what I did, and I'm going to hook them together. And once I do that, it's one shape. I'm going to combine. It's one shape, and then I can just scale it down a little bit to have it fit instead of worrying about up front. And I could make it wider, and when I do that, that makes a great border as well. And of course, you don't have to fill it with coloring paper, but that's our topic for the day. And so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put an outline on there and do like that. So that would make a great border too, down one side of the page. And a to-do list here, an undated planner, a tracker, something there people can track and color at the same time. And the other idea that I had was divider pages. Now, I'm not sure I'm crazy about this shape and using that for coloring because they're not going to get much coloring in there, but you could use a different font, and in your planner or your coloring planner, you could have pages that are dividers. So if I have a January calendar, a January budget sheet, a shopping list, a January tracker, in between the different months, I'm going to have a divider page, and I could do one of my borders on that with my my label of my month. I could also have this border. This is another plain shape, and I hooked them together. This shape is, let me see, it is under the shapes that they do for flowcharts. Okay, that's all that is. So I did that the same way, and I hooked 2 rows of them together to kind of give a border. And if you don't like it that wide, you can just simply adjust it. But it makes a great page for a divider. Or you could do an all-over design. You wouldn't have to use a divider page. You wouldn't have to put the month on there. You could use an all-over design, and these are simply triangles that I hooked together. And then I made a whole bunch of them on one page. So it's all over page design, and these are simply circles. And you can put, once you get them all hooked together, because they're one shape now, once you get them all hooked together, you can go over and you can fill that shape with a picture. And let's put a different picture in there. Let me see. And you could have, I'm not sure I'm crazy about that, but you could change the picture out, find something you like. And so you've got a whole bunch of ideas of things you can use those coloring pages for. My personal favorite is this scalloped page at the moment. I'm kind of crazy about that. But you could make other things as well. So hope you get busy using your coloring pages. I'm going to drop a link in case you don't have enough coloring pages to my friend's monthly coloring membership that you can pick up for a song and a dance. Until next time, this is Linda with CreativePLR.com.